Too handsome to be taken seriously, too fragile to be a villain, and too late to become a leading man? For years, Byeon Woo Seok was overlooked by the Korean entertainment industry. No one thought he had what it takes to be a star. But in 2025, he proved everyone wrong. Still, with fame came controversy, sudden wealth, questioned beauty, and a love life no one can figure out. Let's talk about all of it now. Most Korean actors struggle for years to get noticed. Byeon Woo Seok was no exception. What changed was the reason. While many fight for attention because they lack presence or looks, he heard the opposite. He was too handsome. Handsome to the point of not seeming trustworthy for a serious role. Too tall, too refined, too cold. The type that looked like he had just stepped off a runway. And for many directors, that didn't translate into real emotion. And in fact, it was on a runway where he first started. Before he ever thought about acting, Byeon Woo Seok was a model. Still young, nearly 190 meters tall with sharp features, he began working with major brands. His name circulated in the backstage of luxury fashion shows, high-end campaigns, and prestigious magazines. He was praised by photographers and designers alike, slowly establishing himself as a strong name in Korean men's fashion. But that's not what he truly wanted. As successful as he was as a model, Byeon felt like he was always lending his face to someone else's story, and he wanted to tell his own. His desire to act started out as curiosity and soon became a deep need. But transitioning from the world of fashion to acting was like switching planets. Many didn't take his interest in acting seriously, thinking he was just another pretty face trying his luck. Still, he decided to study acting and started going to auditions. And that's when the most painful part of the journey began: rejection. He was turned down often, almost always for the same reasons. Doesn't show emotion, too cold looking, too handsome for this role. Sometimes he didn't even make it past the first round. Other times he'd receive compliments, only to be replaced by someone deemed more charismatic. On top of that, he didn't come from a wealthy family or have industry connections. Unlike other actors who had financial support or powerful mentors, Woo Seok had to build his career entirely from scratch. He worked as a model for years just to pay the bills while constantly auditioning, most of which ended the same way, with doors closed in his face. At that time, he even considered giving up. Close friends have revealed in interviews that Woo Seok was deeply shaken by the rejections, not because fame wasn't coming, but because of the feeling of not being seen. He didn't just want to be there. He wanted to prove that he could truly deliver emotion, that he could be more than just a pretty face in the background. Over time, he began landing small roles, most of them insignificant, just to gain experience. But even these small parts demanded enormous effort. The burden of constantly having to prove he was more than his looks weighed on him quietly, a mix of frustration, shyness, and determination. No one bet on him as a leading actor. No one believed he could carry a K-drama on his own. And for a long time, not even he was sure of it. But little by little, the first signs of change began to appear. After years of rejection, Woo Seok finally started to land slightly more prominent roles. He was still seen as a supporting actor, of course, but at least he was no longer invisible. And it was with the Netflix film 20th Century Girl that he took his first big step out of the shadows. Released in 2022, the film told the story of a nostalgic and melancholic first love. Woo Seok played Pung Woon Ho, a sweet, sensitive boy full of secrets. His performance didn't involve many lines, but it still left a mark. Unlike the typical dramatic heartthrob stereotype, he portrayed a restrained character who moved people with just his gaze. And it worked. The film became a hit among international fans, especially in Brazil and the United States. It was the first time many people asked, "Who is that actor?" But interestingly, within Korea, the impact was more modest. Public opinion still saw Byeon Woo Seok as someone in transition, promising, but not yet established. And that's when an unexpected opportunity came up, to play a villain in Strong Girl Nam Soon. Released in 2023 as a spiritual sequel to Strong Woman Do Bong Soon, the series leaned into action, comedy, and a bit of social critique. Woo Seok played Ryu Shio, a manipulative CEO addicted to control, with a cold charisma that was both unsettling and magnetic. It was a bold role for someone who, until then, had been seen as too sweet, and he delivered. Many hated the character, but no one could ignore him. For the first time, he stepped out of the cute and likable role into something deeper, more complex, and much more dangerous. It was at that moment the Korean audience truly started to pay attention. He wasn't just handsome, he was good, and he was ready for something bigger. He was handsome, yes. Elegant, sure. Talented? Maybe. But there was still no concrete proof that he could carry the weight of a lead role. That changed with Lovely Runner. Released in 2025, the drama arrived almost quietly. It wasn't a big production, didn't feature major names in the cast, and wasn't distributed by the most popular platforms. But just 2 episodes in, word of mouth turned the series into a phenomenon. And the face behind all that buzz was Byeon Woo Seok. In Lovely Runner, he plays Ryu Sun-jae, an idol who dies tragically, and whose life is revisited by a fan who travels back in time to try to save him. The plot blends fantasy fantasy, romance, and tragedy in a way that hooks viewers. And Woo Seok delivers a performance that caught everyone by surprise. Vulnerable, passionate, intense. He was no longer the model who wanted to act. He was the leading man in one of the most talked-about romances of the year. His chemistry with Kim Hye-yoon, the female lead, also became a major talking point. Their scenes went viral on social media. Fans made edits, theories, fan art. Many said they hadn't seen such on-screen connection since Goblin or Crash Landing on You, and that's no small comparison. But what really caught people's attention was how Byeon Woo Seok managed to stir up a collective emotion. People cried with him, laughed with him, rooted for him, and not just inside the drama. Outside the screen, his image exploded. In just a few weeks, he went from promising actor to nation's boyfriend. Variety shows started inviting him. Search engines saw his name skyrocket. Brands rushed to sign him. And fans from abroad, especially in Southeast Asia and Latin America, began creating fan clubs dedicated solely to him. Korea, which had ignored him for years, was now obsessed. But with the love from the public also came criticism. Some people claimed that Lovely Runner's success was only due to the script and nostalgia, and that Byeon Woo Seok still had a lot to prove. Others questioned whether he could handle the pressure of becoming a heartthrob overnight, especially now in his 30s and without the resume of other actors in his generation. This sudden explosion of popularity raised an important question. Who is Byeon Woo Seok, really? Up until now, he had always been cautious with his image, measured in interviews. But now, with the spotlight fully on him and the public wanting to know everything, from his love life to his millionaire earnings, keeping the mystery became harder and harder. With the massive success of the drama, Byeon Woo Seok went from being just a promising actor to becoming a cultural phenomenon. And with that, every part of his image began to be scrutinized. And that's where the controversies started to surface. After all, no one reaches the top that fast without raising some eyebrows along the way. The first topic? His looks? Or more precisely, his problematic beauty, as some Korean netizens have labeled it. Even though he's considered one of the most captivating faces right now, there's a vocal group who insists he's not all that. They claim his face is asymmetrical, that his chin is too prominent, that he only looks good from certain angles. The most common critique is that he has a beauty better suited for photo shoots than for television. This divide is clear even on social media. While international fans praise his appearance as unique and magnetic, many conservative Korean viewers still prefer the cute look of actors like Cha Eun-woo. This sparked heated debates, with some saying Byeon Woo Seok represents a new standard of male beauty, less boyish, more mature, with a melancholic aura that suits heavier roles. But others still argue he shouldn't be called a leading man, at least not in the traditional sense. And like every new heartthrob, his love life quickly became the target of speculation. So far, Byeon Woo Seok has never publicly confirmed any relationship, but the rumors won't stop. During the filming of Lovely Runner, his chemistry with Kim Hye-yoon was so intense that many fans started shipping them off screen. Some interviews and behind-the-scenes footage only added fuel to the fire, especially the improvised scenes that seemed a bit too intimate to be just acting. Beyond that, Woo Seok has been linked to other actresses he's worked with in the past, including Kim Yoo-jung, his co-star in Moonshine. At the time, many fans believed their closeness was more than just professional, but both agencies denied any romantic involvement. Today, now that he's reached a new level of fame, he avoids commenting on any rumors directly and prefers to stay silent, which only increases the curiosity. Another major topic is money. With the success of Lovely Runner, he didn't just earn star status, he broke into the high-stakes Korean advertising circuit. It's estimated that his fees tripled in under 3 months. Cosmetics brands, clothing, electronics, even beverages, all are competing for his face. A single sponsored post on his Instagram is now worth tens of thousands of dollars, and that's not even counting international contracts, especially from Chinese and Southeast Asian companies. Many fans are thrilled by this well-deserved recognition, but some criticize what they call the premature commercialization of his image. They argue that he's being overexposed before building a lasting career. Others worry that fame came too fast and might burn out just as quickly. And finally, there's his reserved personality, something that once made him seem humble, but now is seen by some as cold or distant. Byeon Woo Seok rarely shows up at events unless necessary, avoids sharing personal life details, and usually gives short, generic answers in interviews. What used to be seen as shyness is now interpreted by some as arrogance. The same public that put him on a pedestal is now beginning to question whether he really wants to be there. And Byeon Woo Seok is at the top, but every peak is unstable. With the explosion of Lovely Runner, he became the new face of Korean romance. But as we all know, Korea can be ruthless with its darlings. The public falls in love quickly and gets bored even faster. From now on, every future role will be a test. Every performance, a pressure. If he repeats himself, he'll be called shallow. If he tries something new, he might get rejected. So far, Woo Seok seems to be handling it all calmly, but the world around him isn't calm. There's expectation, pressure, judgment. Will he be able to sustain the hype, or will he become just another fleeting spark? Only time will tell. For now, what we do know is that the man who was ignored for years is now impossible to ignore. What about you? Have you already become a fan of Byeon Woo Seok, or are you still waiting to see more? Leave your opinion in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.